Okay, very good. So I think last class we were doing a Neet 2025 question paper, right? So I think Vedant, were you able to solve that problem which you had doubt?
Sir, no, sir.
No. Okay, we can open that. I will close my video and share. Doubt which you asked, we have discussed it in the class, and it's actually easy only. I'm not sure what kind of difficulty you're having, but yeah, we can discuss it. So they are saying that this is the one which you had doubt, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go through that slowly. There are two inclined surfaces of equal length L of same angle of inclination 45 degree with the horizontal. One of them is rough and the other is perfectly smooth, which means I have taken this as smooth and this is rough. Smooth means there is no friction. Rough means there will be some friction force, that's all. All the other things are going to be exactly the same. A given body takes 2 times as much time to slide down on rough surface than on the smooth surface. So obviously if this takes t, this will take 2t time to come down to the bottom. The coefficient of kinetic friction is given as mu k between the object and the rough surface is close to. So they are asking you to find the mu k value. So since we are talking about the length is same, right? I can use s is equal to ut plus half at square. U is initially it is sliding down, which means it is 0. So initial velocity is 0. Length is L, half. Look at this. This is mg. This is mg cos theta. This is mg sin theta. This is normal reaction. So that means along the inclined plane, don't forget F is equal to ma. This is the force, which means I have to remove the m to get the acceleration. So that means it's g sin theta into t square. Are you okay with this first part?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you are okay with this, I'm sure you can do the same thing for the second part. Only thing, you have friction here. Friction force F friction is equal to mu into N. You know that N should be equal to mg cos theta. Why? Because the block is not moving it's not flying out of the inclined plane, which means this and this has to be equal. Only then it will be sticking to the plane. So N is equal to mg cos theta. And what will be the resultant if it is sliding down here? What is the resultant force? Mg sin theta minus mu mg cos theta. Are you okay with this?
Sir, அதான் எனக்கு எப்படி வந்ததுன்னு தெரியலங்க சார். mg sin theta minus mu mg cos theta.
அதான் புரியலையா?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm saying somebody is pulling this way with 5 Newton, somebody is pulling this way with 2 Newton. What is the resultant? What is the resultant, sir? 5 minus
2.
அதான் இங்கே பண்ணிருக்கு. That's what I have done here. mg sin theta minus mu mg cos theta.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes,
that is your resultant, right? So that means the F downwards, maybe I should have written this as F downwards is equal to this. And what did we say? I don't want the mass term. So that means for the acceleration, you have to remove the mass term. Why? Because acceleration is equal to force by mass. That means g sin theta minus mu cos theta. And time is not t. What did we say? The time is double. That means 2t the whole square. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
What did we say about Equal length, that means the L has to be same. So that means this and this are equal. That means equate that, half G will go away, T squared will go away. So what is left is, so you see half G goes away, T squared goes away. So that means 2 squared will be 4 here. Sine theta is equal to this much. Do the math. Do the simple trigonometry equations. Bring it on sine theta, 4 sine theta. Do the math yourself. I
Yes.
want to find the mu. So sine theta by cos theta will become tan theta. So mu is equal to tan 45 they are given. Tan 45 is 1. So mu is equal to 3 by 4. Very often asked question, inclined plane problems. Okay. So again and again we'll be using the same mg sine theta, mg cos theta, n, right? Very easy problem. Only probably you didn't understand this step alone, right? Once you understand this step.
That step alone, sir.
Yeah. Okay, last class I think we didn't complete one last problem. We can quickly go through it. I already wrote it down. Yeah, it's like a mathematics involved problem. Okay. So I don't think in your level right now in the 11th or 12th, I don't think they are given this newer, integration or differentiation concept. So let's read through it. I think we finished the vernier calipers problem. Consider a water tank in the figure. It has one wall at x is equal to L and can be taken to be very wide in the z direction, which means it's into the paper. When filled with the liquid of surface tension S and density rho, the liquid surface makes an angle theta naught with the x-axis at x is equal to L. If y of x is the height of the surface, then the equation for y of x. So this is slightly confusing problem. It's not a very straightforward problem. But if you know the method, it's kind of easy. So in your mathematics, we have a formula in your differentiation to find the radius of curvature at each point, because they are asking you to find the y of x. So as x changes, y level is also changing. So from your excess pressure method, right, there is something called excess pressure. I can show you where it is in the handbook. So we have to go to the fluids chapter and surface tension. So the surface tension is the last part after Bernoulli's theorem. Viscosity is there and then surface tension, yeah. So go through the surface tension concepts. And then you should remember something called angle of contact, right? In this problem, we have angle of contact. You will see that water has got acute angle, whereas mercury has got a obtuse angle, like, very long angle like this. In other words, water will stick to the glass, whereas mercury will not stick to the glass. It will be forming spherical balls like this. Okay. Water will also form spherical balls in some situations. Anybody remember where it is? Have you seen water making water balls? Have you seen, when you sprinkle water on a banana leaf when you're eating, right? Sometimes in functions and all, we eat it on banana leaf, right? So when you sprinkle water, you will see that the water does not stick to the banana leaf. It will form spherical balls, spherical droplets. Okay, so that means with respect to glass, the water will stick, whereas with respect to banana leaf or a lotus leaf, for example, it will not stick. It will form spherical droplets. Okay, so keep that in mind or note it down somewhere. So excess pressure, you should have studied that. Inside the sphere, it will be excess pressure. Okay, again, as I said, right now I'm not going through the details too much, okay, because we are kind of doing a quick revision. But if you need some help in specific topics, we can discuss that, okay. So if you find it a little bit difficult, don't worry about it. You can let me know. We can go through the theory, right? So excess pressure is equal to 2S by R. T is surface tension, so either you can call it as T or S. So you should know that on the concave side, there will be a slightly higher pressure. So that means here it will be higher pressure, here it will be lower pressure. So that means the excess pressure will be given by the height rho g h or rho g y and then 2s by r. And listen carefully, as I told you, this is simple mathematics. You don't have to know. You just have to remember the formula. Okay. Only in your mathematics you study how you got this. Okay. I'm not sure if it's coming in the 12th standard level. Maybe in the college level, I have studied this radius of curvature. So radius of curvature for a curve is given as 1 plus dy by dx whole square power 3 by 2 divided by d squared y by dx square. This is your first order differentiation. This is your second order differentiation. So dy by dx is nothing but your slope. I've told you many times, slope is dy by dx. Integration means area under the curve. This is slope. So slope means tan theta. Why tan theta? Tan theta is opposite by adjacent. Opposite is dy and this is dx. Sometimes we'll write it as delta y and sometimes this will be written as delta x. That means tan theta is equal to opposite by adjacent. So delta y by delta x or dy by dx, and that is your slope. And they are given that the theta is very, very small. So if you see here, theta is very small, which is like, tan 1 degree. Tan 1 degree is going to be, since the angle is very small, it will be close to 0. So since dy by dx is 0, this term goes away, which means it will be 1 by d squared y by dx square, which means 1 by r is equal to d squared y by dx squared. I'm telling you again, this part is mathematics. Okay, so you just have to remember it. I don't know why they asked this, because I don't think this formula is there in your maths, even in your maths. So this, I would agree that it is slightly difficult problem. Only if you know this maths formula, you can do this problem. Otherwise, you cannot do it. So as I said, some problems, direct formula substitutions, right? Some problems like this, they have asked kind of difficult. Only if you know the mathematics behind it, you can do this. So that means d squared y by dx squared, right? So in place of 1 by r, this is 1 by r. So I have written as d squared y by dx squared, which means d squared y by dx squared is equal to rho gy divided by 2s. Here also, I think they have done something wrong here. D squared y by dx square rho g y by s is there. The 2 is missing. So I would say this is the closest value. Again, as he said, don't worry about it. Okay, you have to learn surface tension formulas and then this mathematics formula. Okay. So for now, I would say it's slightly difficult only. And maybe we can, as we do some surface tension problems, probably it will become easier. Okay, so with that, we have done the 2025 NEET problems. Okay, we have completed it. I think we took 2 or 3 classes, I don't remember. Did we take 2 classes or 3 classes? Don't remember. Without including today's class. Nobody knows? Okay. You should know it.
I think.
Okay. Anyway, I will open the system of particles. I think we stopped system of particles some 2 weeks ago, right before NEET. I think 5th. Yeah, I think we have done two weeks of NEET 2025 because I think NEET it was on 4th, right? So we have done these last 2 classes. We have done NEET. Okay, today we'll go back to the past paper questions in NEET. I think we have been doing the rotational motion problems. Okay, so I asked you to go through those problems. Rotational motion is considered to be slightly difficult for many of you. And as you can see, we have something like 92 problems or something. So one of the longest chapter, right? All the other chapters I have seen only some 50 or 55 questions. Here you have almost like double the type of double the amount of questions. So that means every NEET question paper you will see at least some 2 or 3 of this rotational motion problems. Okay, so we have solved up to 58 in the previous class. Maybe we can get started with 59. Okay, try this. Just a second. I'll be back in a minute. It's an easy one. You just have to think, which axis will give you the masses not spread too far away from the axis. That will have the moment of inertia minimum, right? So find out which one it is. I have a student here. Let me answer him and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so let me start this again. System of particles. I think I opened it 2 times. Okay. So any answers for this? You see, if I take the axis about this place, can all of you hear me? Let me make sure my mic is on.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. You see, if I take the axis about this axis, you see the masses are farther from the axis, which means more mass which is away from the axis means more moment of inertia, because I is equal to mr squared. That means as the r increases, moment of inertia will also increase. If I take the moment axis here, the mass is this much farther. But if I take the axis here, you see the mass is, the radius is less. I think EG will be having the lowest moment of inertia. So very direct question, nothing very difficult here. Okay. Anything not clear? Anybody?
Yes, sir. Clear.
So direct conceptual question. Sixty is also based on the same concept, how far it is from the axis. There is a printing error here. So this is actually 3, 4, 5, right? One of them should be. Which one is? Yeah, I think this is 4, not 3. So 3, 4, 5, right? Pythagoras triplets. So the sides are in the ratio shown, IAB. So IAB means moment of inertia about this axis. IBC means about this axis. ICA means about this axis, or the moment of inertia of the plate about AB, BC and CA as axis respectively. Which one of the following relations is correct? So I would say there is a derivation here, right? Suppose if you had a triangle like this is height h and this is base b. So the moment of inertia about the base will be I is equal to m h squared by 6. Okay, so there is a separate derivation for this. Okay, so if I start doing the derivation, it will take another 15-20 minutes. So I would say let's take it as a formula. Maybe I have not given this in the handbook. If you want, write it down. So that means mass is fixed, 6 is a constant, so that means these two things are constant. As h increases, right, moment of inertia will increase. Makes sense, right? As you go farther from the moment from the axis, the moment of inertia will increase, just like the previous problem. So that means this is 3, whereas for this one it will be 4. So this is I, BC. This is I, AB. I can see that for IAB, the height is only 3. So that means IAB will be less. Moment of inertia IAB will be less. So this will be less. And IBC, the height is 4 compared to 3, which means this will be more. So that means IAB more and IBC less means this is wrong. IAB plus IBC is equal to ICA, that is also wrong. Why? Because this is like a perpendicular axis theorem, right? So perpendicular axis theorem, IAB plus IBC should be equal to perpendicular to this, perpendicular to the plane. So that means this will also be wrong. Or you can try it with this formula also. ICA's minimum, I think that is also wrong. Because if I draw a line here, this is B and this is D, this is A, this is C. IBC, IAB, ICA. IBC is across about this point. Here it is m h squared by 6 means m 4 squared by 6. IAB means about this point, which means height is 3. That means m 3 squared divided by 6. And ICA means m h is this BD. This is B. So this height, this is the height. In a triangle, remember, this is your height, perpendicular distance. So that means it will be BD the whole square by 6. As I told you, m by 6 is a constant, so I don't have to worry about m by 6. 4 squared is bigger than 3 squared, which means this is going to be bigger. And BD square, you can do the math. This is going to be smaller. Okay. So if you do the maths properly, you will see that BD will be less than 3 and 4. Why? Because if this is perpendicular here, right? Listen carefully. If this is perpendicular, this distance has to be less than this 3 hypotenuse, because this is hypotenuse. So if 3 is hypotenuse, obviously this side should be less than 3. So that means this will be less than 3. So BD is less than 3. So
is there any formula? Is there any formula to find the distance BD?
In this particular case, it's not required. The actual value is not required. It'll be like a lengthy process, I can tell you how to do it. But in this particular problem, you don't have to, waste your time calculating that, okay? In case if it's required, this is 4, this is 3, this is 5. So if I say this total is 5, I can say that this is going to be, suppose if I call this as P, then this will be 5 minus P. And if I call this as Q, so Vedant, listen carefully. I told you this is like a 90 degrees, right?
Yeah.
That means Can you see that this is going to be the hypotenuse if I break this triangle further?
Yes, sir.
This is hypotenuse, right? If I say this is hypotenuse, this has to be less than 3. Do you agree?
Yes.
That's all. So that means in this particular problem, if you figure it out that BD is less than 3, then I can say this is less than 3, which means the square term is also going to be less than 3 squared, which means the order is going to be like this. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you want, you can double check, you can calculate and double check, but it's going to be very lengthy. So the first term is wrong. ICA is minimum. That is also wrong because, sorry, maximum. So this is actually minimum. So that means this is also wrong. So only this one makes sense. IBC is greater than IAB. So that means this is correct. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
If I add these two things, definitely I'm not going to get this one because these two are bigger terms and this is a smaller term. Are you following? That's why this is also wrong. In some other problem, suppose if you get a situation where I have to calculate this Q, then you have to follow this method. You have to say P squared plus Q squared is equal to 4 squared. Is that correct in this Pythagoras? Similarly, in this side of the Pythagoras, you have to write it as 5 minus P the whole squared plus Q square is equal to 3 squared. Two equations, two unknowns. Can you solve it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you have to calculate. You can eliminate Q square by doing minus, minus, minus. So that means Q squared goes away. And this will be P squared minus 5 minus P the whole square is equal to 4 squared minus 3 squared. Do the math and find out the P value. Once you find the P value, you can find the Q value. Are you following?
Yes.
But is it necessary for this problem? Definitely not. If you are doing all these things, it is a waste of time. You should know that Q is less than 3, which means you should be able to arrange it in the order. Okay? So many times you don't have to calculate the actual value. So I would say not required to find BD in this problem. Okay, so it was discussed only for your understanding. Okay, if you don't have any doubts, I'll go to the next one. Problem 61. Moment of inertia of a disk of mass m and radius r about an axis which is tangential to the circumference of the parallel to its diameter. What is this? It is circumference of the something wrong there. Circumference of the disk. Okay, so it's K. Just printing error, disk, and parallel to its diameter. So that means they're saying that for a disk, by this time you should remember for ring it is mr squared. For a disk it is mr squared by 2, right? If you don't remember it, you are not studying. That's what I would guess. So for a disk, I told you last class itself many times we have discussed this. For a ring, it is mr squared. For a disk, it is mr squared by 2. Why? Because the mass is spread inside, which means it is coming closer to the axis, which means the moment of inertia will decrease compared to the ring, which means it will be mr squared by 2. However, in this particular case, what they asked you is parallel to its diameter, tangential to the circumference. So that means it's somewhere here. Right? So that means it is tangential to the circumference and parallel to its diameter. So that means this is one of the diameters. Which means I think I will be using if I know the moment of inertia at this point, since it is passing through the center of mass, I will call it as Ig. G stands for center of gravity. I want the moment of inertia at this point, which means I will be using the parallel axis theorem. So that means I is equal to Ig plus mr squared, which means the problem is over. Only thing I should know Ig. How do I know Ig? I know that if I take perpendicular to this paper or plane, that is this value. So that means I will draw it separately so that you folks don't get confused. We have studied something called Ix and Iy. Maybe you can call this as Ix and this as Iy. This has to be mr squared by 4. How do I know this, sir? Means from your perpendicular axis theorem, if I add this and this, I should get moment of inertia about z-axis coming out of the paper. So that means Iz is equal to Ix plus Iy. How do I know these two are equal? Because it is symmetric. Whether I take it on this axis or this axis, it is symmetric, which means these two has to be same. That means mr squared by 4 plus mr squared by 4 will give me mr squared by 2. That means it is correct. So that my assumption of mr squared by 4 here is correct. Why? Because I am getting mr squared by 2. That means Ig here should be mr squared by 4. Plus mr squared. So take mr squared commonly out. So 1 by 4 plus 1 will give me 5 by 4, right? So 5 by 4 mr squared. 5 by 4 mr squared, yeah. Okay. Anybody not following means go back and study this as I told you. I can show you where you have to study all this basics in the rotational motion chapter. Yeah, this page. I think I have shown this page many times. So you should study the hollow cylinder, hollow ring, hollow cylinder. All these things will have the same formula. Solid cylinder, and circular disk will have the same formula, and this is what we have been using right now. So Ix, remember I told you mr squared by 4, mr squared by 4. That is coming from the concept of mr squared by 2. Because according to perpendicular axis theorem, Ix plus Iy should be equal to mr squared by 2, which means Ix will be half of this. Ix and Iy will be half of this. Similarly, I think in the last class we used some solid sphere formulas right in the NEET 2025 question paper. This is hollow sphere, this is solid sphere. Okay, so you should know where to go and study it and come back and ask doubts. As I told you, 11th portions, since you already know this little bit, I'm going a little bit faster. If you don't know some topics, we can definitely discuss. I don't see you folks opening your mouth. Until you open your mouth, I will keep continuing, right? So you have to tell me what is your requirements. Otherwise, I will assume something and I will keep on moving. And once we start 12th portions, probably we can try to match with your schoolwork. I hope that will be a little more easier for you. Right now, if you are not studied the 11th portions thoroughly, probably you will have some difficulty. I can definitely understand it, but don't lose hope. Okay. So you should know where to go and refer to all these basic formulas. For example, we used parallel axis theorem right now, and then perpendicular axis theorem also we used. But did we do the derivation? No. So even if you don't know the derivation, if you know the formula, right, definitely you can apply it. Okay, so I can go to the next one. I think this looks very similar to what we did here, but yeah, we can try that. I told you many times you have to communicate. Okay, so if you have any difficulties, please let me know. Otherwise, it will be just like the difficulty with online classes. It's like a one-way communication. Unless you open your mouth, I will not know anything about your situation.
Sir, for this I2 is greater than I1.
Okay, AB is 4 centimeter. BC is 3, which means this is 5. So I think it's the same question, right? So moment of inertia about AB, BC. So AB they called it as I1. BC they called it as I2. These are all some confusing things. You should write it properly so that you don't make any mistakes. I3 is along AC, I think. Yeah, CA. Sorry, I3. That means obviously I know that I1 should be minimum because the height is minimum. So I1 should be minimum. So this looks correct to me. I3 will be even more smaller, right? I3 will be bigger means wrong. I3, I1 is greater than I2 is wrong. I3 is greater than I2 wrong. So that means this is correct. Everyone getting this? Yes, no,
Yes,
Vedant?
sir. Yes, sir.
What about others? Okay, very good. So composite disk is to be made using equal masses of aluminum and iron so that it has as high a moment of inertia as possible. This is possible when equal masses, so that means aluminum mass is equal to mass of the iron, or if you want you can write as Fe, whichever is comfortable. Even though the mass is same, right? Can you tell me based on your experiences which one is higher density or iron? Iron will be having a higher density, right? So higher density means density is equal to mass by volume. So that means if I say this is higher, then this has to be lower. So that means you will see if you take an iron rod and an aluminum rod for a same mass, you will see that aluminum will be bulky, meaning it will be like a bigger volume. So that means this will be having less volume. This will occupy less volume, whereas aluminum will occupy more volume. So this is the first logical thinking you should get. The surfaces of the disk are made of iron with aluminum inside. The whole of aluminum is kept in the core and the iron at the outer rim of the disk. Whole of iron is kept. So iron will be having less volume. I want more moment of inertia. More moment of inertia means it should be kept, more mass should be kept away from the axis. So that means more mass kept away from the axis means aluminum should be going away from the axis. Is kept in the core, the iron and the outer rim of the disk. The whole of iron is kept in the core. If I think about this, the core will be like a very small iron region, and the aluminum will be like this. Okay, so this is iron, this is aluminum. Why did I draw iron smaller? Because I already explained you this will be taking less volume. This will be taking more volume. If I take the second case, whole of aluminum is kept in the core, which means the core will be bigger and the iron rim will be smaller. So that means this will be iron, this will be aluminum. Okay. Which one do you think will give you moment of inertia higher?
Sir, both having equal masses, then how to find?
Equal masses, that's a trick they have given here, they are using here. Mass is equal, but the volume is bigger for aluminum, so that means it will be occupying more space. Are you following?
Yeah.
So to achieve the same mass as iron, aluminum it is lighter, how do you achieve the same 1 kg? Suppose if you are taken iron as 1 kg, aluminum should also have 1 kg, which means it will be like, more space. It will be occupying more space. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Whereas iron will be occupying very, very small space. So that means if I put iron in the center, what will happen is more mass is concentrated at the center, which means the moment of inertia will be less. In this case, what happens is a huge mass is sitting outside. Outside means what will happen? Moment of inertia will be more. Do you agree?
Yes.
So in this case, since the iron is sitting outside, the moment of inertia will be more. I think B sounds correct to me compared to B and C. I think these things are, like the whole disk is made with thin alternate sheets of iron and aluminum disk. I think it will be equally distributed, which means moment of inertia will not be higher than this. So I think this is wrong. This is wrong. I think most of the time the confusion will be between these two things. So this is where you have to think a lot. Surface of the disk are made of iron with aluminum inside. Aluminum inside. Surfaces of the discs are made. Yeah, again, I think it will be like, equally distributed. It's not given properly, So I think this makes more sense. Okay. The A option is not explained properly. At least the D part is equally distributed. Surface of the disc are made of iron with aluminum inside. So in which case it will be like, aluminum inside and iron outside, which is not very clear. Okay, I think I would select B. Any question? Can I go to the next one?
Yes, sir.
Again, I'm telling you, rotational motion, not an easy chapter, right? You have to take some effort, clarify the doubts, ask me the doubts, only then I can help you. If you don't ask me the doubts, there is no way for me to understand what is your requirement. If you are not able to follow immediately right now, because maybe I might be going a little bit faster for you, don't worry about it, but listen carefully, and then after the class sit and study properly. After every class you have to spend at least 1 hour. Okay, 1 hour is very, very minimum, but you have to spend more than that and work out more problems, following problems. Only then you can score well in NEET. Okay, so NEET is not going to be a joke. Every year they keep on making it difficult, right? So understand that. Because more and more students are scoring like, above 650 or something, which means, they don't have a choice but to make the questions difficult. Anybody like preparing for JEE, not for NEET? Anybody in this group? Okay. So that means I will assume that all of you are preparing for NEET. One more thing I can tell you, many students, I see students who study properly in your 11th and 12th, for some reason, if they are not able to score well in NEET, then if they are very much interested in getting into MBBS, then they say, okay, let me stay back for 1 more year, and then they do NEET repeaters. I would recommend only students who have studied well 11th and 12th portions. Only those students can do that. If you have not studied 11th and 12th properly, then definitely I would not recommend you to do that NEET repeaters thing. Okay, I would say just go and join some other course. Okay, so understand that only if you study properly, you can take that option. Otherwise, I would not recommend you to do that, because if you are not studied 11th and 12th properly, obviously you will not be able to know. Even in that 1 year, you will not be able to study the both 11th and 12th portions together. In other words, what I'm trying to say here is, if you have studied the 2 years properly, then it's worth for you to spend 1 more year. If you have not studied 2 years properly, then there is no way you are going to spend your 3rd year, because again you will have to start from basics, ABCDs. Again, I would say right now, I don't expect you to keep that as an option. My suggestion is you have to work hard, and in this year itself you should get in. Let me close the door. There is some noise, TV noise coming. In the background, if there is some noises, it is your duty to let me know. Otherwise, I may not be knowing, because for air purposes, I keep the window open and there is a lot of noise from outside. Okay, again, I'm telling you, there are a lot of disturbances around the home, right? If I keep the window open for air circulation, there'll be some dog, barking outside. There'll be some children in the neighbor's place. They'll be crying and shouting. There'll be some TV playing. All these disturbance will be there. Okay, and I may not be knowing it. I will be focused on taking the class. Unless you open your mouth and tell me, sir, there is some background noise, we are not able to hear you properly, means I will not, there is no way I will be able to know that. So it is your duty to communicate properly. I have switched off the fan also, so that you can hear me properly. So, ball rolls without slipping. The radius of gyration of the ball about an axis passing through its center of mass is k. If radius of the ball be r, then the fraction of the total energy associated with its total energy will be. So we should know what is radius of gyration. So radius of gyration means if you have some different masses, right? M1, M2, M3. So suppose if I want to find an average for all these things, then the moment of inertia for this one will be, this is R1, this is R2, this is R3. So moment of inertia will be M1 R1 squared plus M2 R2 square plus M3 R3 square. So this is the moment of inertia of this system. But suppose if I want to find an average point, meaning one single point where I can put the entire mass, that radius is what is called radius of gyration. Okay, so take it down. You may have, I don't know if you remember this, radius of gyration. Gyro refers to rotation. Gyration. So again, I'm telling you, if I put all the masses in one place, at what radius should I put so that it will be equaling this moment of inertia? So it's something like an average. That means K is nothing but this entire thing, M1 R1 squared plus M2 R2 square plus M3 R3 square divided by the total mass. Total mass means capital MR. Can write it as M1 plus M2 plus M3. And then there is a square root. So that is what is called radius of gyration. Okay, so that's the basics. But even for uniformly distributed masses such as sphere, you can find radius of gyration. So if you take a disk, for example, you see the mass is kind of distributed everywhere. But what if I take this entire mass M? I know that this is mr squared by 2. But what if I said I want to put the total mass in one single place, like what I showed here? And that will be your radius of gyration. So that means it will be mk square, and that will be equated to mr squared by 2. That means radius of gyration will be cancels, so k squared will be r squared by 2. So that is my radius of gyration for circular disk. Let me see if that is correct. Yeah, look at this. Mk squared is equal to half mr squared. That means k squared by r squared will be equal to 1 by 2. That's what I have written here also. They said it is a ball, so why are you talking about disk, sir? Which means I'm just trying to give you an introduction about what is radius of gyration, how do you apply it for different elements. Okay, so if you know how to apply it for a circular disk, you should know how to apply it for a sphere. So I can show you where it is. So that means this is like a hollow sphere, this is like a solid sphere. And you can see mk squared is equal to this moment of inertia, which means I can cancel the m and I can calculate k squared by r squared is equal to 2 by 3. Here k squared by r squared is equal to 2 by 5. Okay. So coming back to this question. So now only we are coming to the question. All these things are basics. I'm assuming that you may have some trouble understanding radius of gyration, so that's why I'm just going through the basics. A ball rolls without slipping. The radius of gyration of the ball one more time. Whenever they say without slipping, it means it is rolling well. Okay, so that means it's a rolling problem. But don't get scared. Rolling problems are kind of easy only. I don't think they ask you very difficult questions in rolling. In Neet, in JEE, advanced and all, they ask very difficult questions. But in Neet, mostly I've seen some direct formula substitution problems only they are asking. And the fraction of the total energy associated with its rotational energy. Yes, so that means they're asking you fraction of total energy associated with its rotational energy. Yeah, they confuse this wordings a little bit. So fraction, what they're asking is fraction is equal to rotational energy divided by total energy. What is rotational energy? Half mv squared, rotational kinetic energy. Okay, so the interesting thing about rolling is it is moving forward, which means it is translational kinetic energy. And rolling means you know that it will also roll like your wheel. That means this is called rotational kinetic energy. That means in rolling you have both kinetic plus potential. Sorry, rolling you have so this is the basics in rolling. Okay, very easy ones only, nothing very difficult. So rotational kinetic energy means instead of half mv square, it will be half I omega square. Why? Instead of mass, it is moment of inertia. Instead of velocity, it is angular velocity. Divided by total energy. Total energy means rotational plus translator. Everyone following this? Very, very important. I have seen more than 5-6 problems based on these simple concepts. Anybody not following this, please raise your doubts. So that means in rolling you have both linear motion and rotational motion. Moment of inertia can be written as mk square with the average, right? Just now I told you 1 by 2 comes out and it will be getting cancelled out, so I don't have to worry about 1 by 2. Mk squared omega square divided by, again this is mk square omega square. This is m. You should know V is equal to R omega. So that means it will be R squared omega square. That means omega squared will cancel. If I take omega squared commonly out, m and omega squared will cancel. What is left is only k squared
Option D.
option D.
D option.
Okay. Yeah, k squared divided by k squared plus r squared. That means D, right? Again, I'm telling you, rolling motion means I've seen many students avoiding it, thinking that it is very difficult. These kind of questions are very, very easy if you know the basics. Okay, so take it down. If they ask you something similar to this, they may change the question like, instead of rotational energy, they will ask you linear energy to the rotational energy or total energy. Or they may ask you a fraction between rotational with linear. That means it will be only without this plus, it will be this by this. So that means, they can keep changing the same question in a different way. So if you know the basics, you can definitely do it. Okay, so I think 64, 63, we have done only 5 or 6 problems today. Okay, it doesn't matter. I think we spent some time on the other question paper also. So my recommendation for you is you should practice these problems. Okay. If you know the subject, you should practice well before the class. If you don't know the subject, you should practice well after the class. Okay. If you don't do both the things, then you are not doing justice for your NEET. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so if you know the subject, start doing it. If you don't know the subject, go back and start doing all the problems which we have already solved. And if you don't know something, send it in WhatsApp and we can discuss it. Okay, so please take it seriously. Okay, if you do it, if you start doing it right now, the holidays it will become easier. If you don't do it now, once your school starts, you will become very busy and you will not be able to find time. Okay, all this record writing, this, that, all time wasters will be there. So you'll be wasting your time here and there, and you will not be able to focus on studies properly. So understand that right now it's your time to focus on the 11th portions properly. So you have another 10 days or something. So do it properly. Any feedback around following something? If not 100%, or you at least learning 50%? If you say that, I'll be happy, right? So how much are you studying? I don't know. Okay, if you have any doubts, stay back and clarify your doubts. Otherwise, thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.